What is Mutiny about? Jason Statham's new movie explained. Warning: major spoilers. Jason Statham's Mutiny follows Cole Reed, a former Special Forces soldier and police officer who now works as a private security specialist. After his billionaire employer is murdered, Cole is framed for the killing and forced to uncover the truth himself. His investigation leads him into a dangerous international conspiracy and onto a massive cargo ship, where he is to fight for his life while discovering who really wanted his employer dead. So, what exactly is Mutiny about? Jason Statham's latest action movie starts with a fairly simple idea. A wealthy billionaire is murdered. Jason Statham's character witnesses it. And then, instead of being treated as a witness, he becomes the prime suspect. That's the basic setup for Mutiny. But the story quickly becomes much bigger than one murder. Cole Reed discovers that the death of his employer is connected to an international conspiracy involving powerful people, hidden agendas, and a carefully planned attempt to make him take the blame. And if Cole wants to survive, he has to find out who is really behind everything. Who is Cole Reed? Cole Reed is played by Jason Statham. He's a former Special Forces soldier who later worked as a police officer before becoming a private security specialist. That background makes him extremely dangerous. Cole knows how to fight. He knows how to use weapons. He understands investigations. And most importantly, he knows how criminals think. But Cole isn't looking for trouble when the movie begins. He's simply doing his job. He's protecting a billionaire client named Tibu. Then, everything changes. Who is Tibu? Tibu is an extremely wealthy businessman who employs Cole as part of his security team. Cole has developed a professional relationship with him, and everything appears relatively normal. Until Tibu is suddenly murdered. Cole is there when it happens. That should make him the most important witness. Instead, the evidence begins pointing toward him. Someone has carefully constructed a situation in which Cole appears responsible for the murder. And Cole immediately realizes that this isn't an accident. Someone wanted him framed. Why is Cole framed? That's the central mystery of Mutiny. Cole knows he didn't kill Tibu. So who did? And why would someone go to such elaborate lengths to make Cole look guilty? As Cole investigates, he realizes that Tibu's murder is connected to something much larger. The billionaire wasn't simply killed because of a personal dispute. His death is connected to powerful interests and an international conspiracy. And Cole's biggest problem is that the people responsible know exactly how dangerous he is. They don't just want to frame him. They want him dead. Why does Cole go on the run? Once Cole realizes he's being framed, he can't simply wait for the authorities to figure everything out. He knows that the people behind the murder have resources, connections, and influence. If he gets arrested, the real killers may disappear. So Cole runs. But he's not running because he's guilty. He's running because he needs time to investigate. That turns him from a security specialist into a fugitive. And now he's fighting two battles at once. He has to avoid being captured. And he has to find the people responsible for Tibu's death. Where does the cargo ship come in? This is where Mutiny becomes different from a typical Jason Statham action movie. Cole's investigation eventually takes him onto a massive cargo ship. And that ship becomes one of the movie's most important locations. A cargo ship is almost like a floating maze. There are huge stacks of containers, narrow passageways, multiple levels, engine rooms, dark corridors, and very few places to escape. For Cole, that makes the ship both a prison and a battlefield. He's surrounded by people who want him dead, and there is nowhere easy to run. That creates the perfect environment for the movie's action sequences. What does the title Mutiny mean? The title has an obvious connection to the ship, but it also represents the larger story. Cole has essentially been betrayed by the people around him. He's been framed, he's being hunted, and he's trapped inside a system controlled by people who want him to follow their rules. Instead, Cole rebels. He refuses to accept the story they've created about him. He starts fighting back. And the situation gradually becomes a literal and metaphorical mutiny. Cole is fighting against the people who have taken control of his life. Who is Angie Ellis? Annabelle Wallis plays Angie Ellis, another important character in Cole's story. Angie becomes connected to Cole as he investigates Thibault's murder and the larger conspiracy. Their relationship is important because Cole can't solve everything alone. He needs information. He needs someone he can trust. And in a story where almost everybody appears to have hidden motives, finding someone trustworthy becomes extremely difficult. Angie therefore becomes an important part of Cole's journey. But, as you'd expect from a conspiracy thriller, trust is never straightforward. What is the international conspiracy? The conspiracy is what turns Mutiny from a simple revenge story into a larger action thriller. Cole discovers that Thibault's death is connected to people with much more power than the criminals he initially expected. There are financial interests, political connections, hidden agendas, and people who have been manipulating events behind the scenes. The murder is essentially one piece of a much larger operation. And Cole becomes dangerous because he starts putting those pieces together. Every answer leads to another question. Every person he investigates seems to be connected to someone else. And the closer he gets to the truth, the more dangerous the people hunting him become. Why is Cole so difficult to stop? The villains make one major mistake. They underestimate Cole. They assume that framing him will be enough. They think that once the authorities start chasing him, he'll be too busy surviving to investigate. Instead, being framed gives Cole even more motivation. He has nothing to lose. He knows that clearing his name means finding the real killers. And because of his military and police background, he's uniquely capable of doing exactly that. That's where the classic Jason Statham formula comes into play. Cole gets attacked. He survives. He fights back. Then he follows the next clue. And the cycle continues until he reaches the people responsible. Is Mutiny based on a true story? No. Mutiny is a fictional action thriller. Cole Reed isn't a real person, and the events surrounding Thibault's murder and the international conspiracy aren't a direct recreation of a real case. The movie uses familiar action thriller ideas, conspiracy, betrayal, revenge, and a wrongly accused hero, and combines them with a maritime setting. That's what gives the film its identity. Who directed Mutiny? The movie was directed by Jean-François Richet, who previously directed the action thriller Plane. That connection is interesting because Plane also placed its characters in a dangerous environment where escape was difficult. Mutiny takes a similar idea and moves it onto a cargo ship. Instead of being stranded in an unfamiliar location, Cole is trapped aboard a huge vessel surrounded by ocean and hostile people. It's an ideal setting for a Statham action movie. Is Mutiny mostly an action movie? Yes. Although there is a mystery at its center, Mutiny is primarily an action thriller. The conspiracy gives Cole a reason to keep moving. The murder gives him something to investigate. But the movie's biggest attraction is the action. Jason Statham gets involved in hand-to-hand fights, shootouts, chases, and close-quarters battles. And the cargo ship provides plenty of unusual locations for those fights. The film reportedly runs around 95 minutes, keeping the story relatively fast-paced rather than spending hours developing complicated subplots. What makes the movie different? The biggest difference is the setting. Statham has fought villains in almost every environment imaginable. But a cargo ship offers something different. There are narrow corridors where Cole can't easily maneuver. There are containers that create hiding places. There are multiple levels. There is machinery everywhere. And outside the ship is the ocean. That means Cole can't simply jump into a car and escape. He has to fight his way through the environment. The ship essentially becomes another character in the story. What is Cole really fighting for? At first, Cole is fighting to survive. Then he's fighting to clear his name. But eventually, he's fighting for the truth. Thibault's murder becomes a symbol of everything that has gone wrong. Someone powerful believed they could kill a man, frame an innocent person, and control the consequences. Cole refuses to let that happen. And that's what drives him through the final stages of the movie. He's not simply trying to get revenge. He's trying to expose the people who believed they were untouchable. The bigger meaning of Mutiny. Underneath all the explosions and fights, Mutiny is really about betrayal and control. Cole begins the movie believing he knows who he's working for. Then his employer is murdered. Suddenly, the people he thought were allies become potential enemies. His reputation is destroyed. He's hunted by authorities. and he's forced to question everything he knows. The title, therefore, becomes meaningful beyond the ship. Cole refuses to accept the role that powerful people have assigned to him. They want him to be the villain. He decides to become the person who exposes the real villains instead. Final answer. So, what is Jason Statham's Mutiny about? It's the story of Cole Reed, a former Special Forces soldier and police officer who now works in private security. When his billionaire employer, Tibu, is murdered, Cole witnesses the crime. But instead of being treated as a witness, he's framed for the murder. Cole realizes that someone powerful is manipulating the evidence and trying to eliminate him. So he goes on a run and begins investigating the murder himself. His search eventually leads him onto a massive cargo ship, where he discovers that Tibu's death is connected to a much larger international conspiracy. Along the way, Cole works with Angie Ellis, played by Annabelle Wallis, while fighting the people who are determined to silence him. The cargo ship becomes the central battlefield, giving the movie its distinctive setting and explaining the title. But the real mutiny isn't just about what's happening on the ship. It's about Cole refusing to accept the role that has been forced upon him. He has been framed. He has been betrayed. And he's been told that he's the villain. So he fights back. Directed by Jean-François Richet, Mutiny is ultimately a fast-paced Jason Statham action thriller built around murder, conspiracy, betrayal, survival, and revenge. It's not trying to reinvent the action genre. Instead, it takes the classic Statham formula and puts it somewhere different. A billionaire is murdered. A bodyguard is framed. A cargo ship becomes a battlefield. And an international conspiracy waits behind the murder. That's the story of Mutiny.